All righty, here we're off to the races, huh? Hey, good morning, Ed. So the bears still own the market. Nothing has changed. We're below the 50-period moving average here. We're below the T line. There's no real signs to be bullish. However, I had a great question from a new member here last night. I'm going to cover that in just a second. But first, let's get through some of this. I want to switch to the dark chart. This is a chart that I think it's just remarkable because it's so simple. And taking price out of the picture sometimes can be the best thing in the world. And look, I love price action. I love candlesticks. But sometimes I think we have to step back and just say, well, where is the power? Where is the power? So if I look at the daily chart on the SPY, and if you're using something that I use here, something similar, which the white line is the T line, you guys all know that. The red and the green dots, that's the trend indicator, you guys know that. And the yellow line here is the 50-period moving average. So if I look at this and I make some kind of rule in my, trading, darn it, I always forget. There we go. Some sort of rule in here that I'm only going to trade short when we're down like that, and then I'm only going to trade long when we're up like this. So long when you're green, short when you're red. Don't mix and match. You're either bearish or you're bullish. Now, I know that no one does that 100%. I absolutely know that. But as a rule, I think that's something to consider when you're putting on a trade. What is the overall market doing? And what is your particular trade doing? And we'll cover that in just a second here. Okay, so I look at this and I see nothing but bears in control. Now I know there's no candlesticks down here that says, hey, bulls might be waking up right now. There could be at the end of the day, but not right now. But that doesn't mean that that's buyable, because so many times what we see are bear flags setting up, where we have this, we can start up here. Here's your bearish move. That really is, take the candlesticks out of the picture. That's a bear flag right there. And here we go down. We can do this again. Here's our down move. Here's our rally up. That's a bear flag. And here we are down. So we could have candlesticks that kind of run us up a little bit, and we might get a little energetic, a little excited. We want to be in there. Well, that's really just a bear flag. So what changes that? Well, trading 101 is we have to break out of that high right in here. That is generally what is looked at as changing the direction. When you break out over a recent high, you put in a higher low, you put in a new high. That's what's generally looked at. But I know that, everybody wants to get in a little early, but I think there are some limits we ought to look at. Now let's move to the weekly here. Now the weekly, you can see that we've rolled over on the weekly, but we've got the 50-period moving average. So there is that possibility that this becomes, the 50-period moving average on the weekly might become some kind of support. I say might, we don't know. We need to make sure with the bulls stepping in there. And we'll know that if we get down to the 50, say 417.35-ish here, then if you look at the daily and we start rising up and we start turning green, well, that could be a sign that the bulls are stepping in, okay? Now, let's just take this and look at, say, the transports. Here's the transports. Here's the daily. Let me get rid of all that. Here's the daily on the transports. There is nothing here, nothing at all that says the bulls are stepping in. Here's the weekly, which happens to look worse to me. We're down here at the 50-period moving average, and the T-line is below that. And for the T-line to be below there, price has got to be below there. Trend indicator is just about to cross over. This is not a good picture. However, if we want to look at the other side of that now, we are we are bouncing around the 50 period moving average. There's nothing super magic about the exact price of 233.67 of the 50 period moving average. It's an average. That the key word there, it's an average, which means in the neighborhood. That's all that means. So there is the chance the bulls step in and try to push us up, but we're going to have to see something change on the daily, because the daily is clearly controlled by the bulls. SMH. Now, SMH, is that SMH? Yeah. You can see SMH is down a little bit. We're below the 50. Bears are still in charge. If we look at the weekly chart is not quite as bad. We still have a good trending 50 period moving average. We have rolled over a little bit, but the big selling is not in there yet. So that there's some possibilities with SMH that we could start driving up. If we start driving up, we're not going to see it right away in the weekly. You'll see it sooner in the daily. And what would make you think that, what would make me think that the bulls are stepping in there? Well, if I see something like this right here. Now, here's where the bulls stepped in. We ran right into 50 period moving average resistance and back down. And this is where we want to make a low, high, higher low, and a higher high. So if we break out in these areas, that would tell us that SMH is coming alive. Unfortunately, what happens, I'm as guilty as sin, that we get impatient and we want to try to trade in this area. And this is an extremely dangerous area to be trading in. We can look at XLI. I think that's a chart we ought to keep an eye on here. Let me get rid of that. And you can see we're clearly bearish on the daily. We're clearly bearish on the weekly, and we're starting to cross below that 50 period moving average. Or are we going to be looking for bullish price action and support around the 50? Well, we don't, to say, well, I'm 100% convinced that the bulls are going to step in. Good luck with that. I'm 100% convinced that we're going to go lower. Well, good luck with that. We are at an area that makes a difference. So maybe instead of trying to read the future too far out, hold some risk back. Maybe we need a little more information right in here. How are we going to handle that 50? But that's going to require some trading patience in there. FNGU. Let's kill that. There we go. FNGU on the weekly, you can see, is rolling over. Now, I've only got 3 moving averages up here, so that's all I can work with. But based on what I see in the chart in front of me, we stand a good chance of coming back down to the 50 period moving average on the weekly. And here's the daily. That puts us down here at 120. Nothing on the daily would suggest at the moment that we're going to come back up and test the 50 period moving average. This is where the power is. And that power needs to change to even think about moving up here. Right now, the power is looking. You can just see where the eyes are, where the eyes here. The eyes are looking here, not up here. We need something to change. So, quick look at T2122. We are very much in the oversold area. We're trying to move up. So we could bounce around and see some sort of relief rally. T2123, we are most definitely still in the bearish area over here on the 15-minute, and still very much in the bearish area over here on the 60-minute, okay? Now, let's go look at some charts based on what was asked of me last night. A new member, and this is one of the neat things, you get new members in, they have lots of questions. It's the old timers here that a lot of their questions have been answered, and I get it, and I'm I'm cool with that. But when you get some new people in, they have these questions about charts. And here are some things. The main question, one person's what it was. They were, they're looking at the market and they want to be long, clearly long based on the conversation. So what would tell them, when to start looking at a chart? Well, there's a few charts that I've been tracking on our watch list. And this is an answer to them now. You see how we've turned green here? That's what I'm going to look for. Now, in our conversation, they did bring up well, what about buying down here? Now, you guys know how I feel about that. First of all, we're looking at a chart that, in hindsight, buying down here, you don't get the privilege of hindsight. So if you look at hindsight here, we are still actually very much in a downtrend. So why would buying down here make sense? It wouldn't. And this is what I explained to him last night. So what I want to wait for is for this to start turning green. I want that white line above the green dots. When I see that turning green, that tells me the bulls are interested and they're running, maybe. We've not had any real big confirmation here, but they may be trying to run those bears out of town on this particular chart. Now, they were all, like I said, they were all about, getting in early, and I cautioned them on that. And this, you want that momentum in there. SWN, here's one up here. This is what you're looking for. Again, we looked at these charts last night together. And again, they kept coming back to over here looking for the price action to tell them to get in early. I kept saying, the thing of it is, you can have all the price action in the world, but you don't know that it is confirmed until it confirms. So if you've got this bullish price action turning you around, what you think is turning you around, because he said, well, look at that chart. I said, no, wait a minute. This is a chart that we are looking for a trend. So we have eliminated the downtrend. We are cherry picking this chart. So if you are looking for these reversal candles, you don't know that that's going to happen. What we want to do is look for charts that says, yes, that has happened. We've created some momentum in here. Now we can look for that trade. And, we're going to look for those pullbacks. So here we get this crossover. We'll just look for pullbacks in here in the chart. Those setups, those 3-8 traps, those bullish flags, J-hook setups, things like that. Here's STKL. Here's one right here starting. And again, we went through the same thing, and every single time they would bring me back to, well, look at that chart. That gave us some buy signals down here. Well, hold on. You got to remember that every time that white line lifts right there, you probably had some kind of a buy signal. Every time that white line lifted right there, you probably had some sort of price action that said, oh, hey, the bulls are coming in. But if you take a look at this, what it really is just, remember, we're in a downtrend. And when we see that rise, all that is a bear flag. So here we are in a downtrend. We see that rise. All that is a bear flag. We see this downtrend. We see this rise. All it is a bear flag until it confirms. And now we have some confirmation in here. So be careful not to chase those bear flags just because the price action is giving us something in the bottom. That's just a recipe in a downtrend for a bear flag. NVDS, look how that is giving us that buy signal right in here. See how it gave us a buy signal in here? That could have been traded. This could have been shorted, and here we're coming up. Take a look at Macy's. Look how Macy's is starting to give us a possible buy signal. Now, because we're so close to the 50-period moving average, what I explained to him here is I would like to see that move over the 50, prove to me again. And I got to tell you, it was almost comical that whenever we looked at something here, what would happen is he would bring me back to the price action down here that said, oh, look, if I would have bought this, I could be up. Again, I had to remind him that we're only seeing this because we scanned for it. We're only seeing it because we scanned for confirmation, not hopes and dreams. We scanned for confirmation. And this is giving us the confirmation that the bulls just might be running Macy's out of town. Now, we're running into that 50-period moving average resistance, so we want to be a little careful there. All right. EQT. Look how EQT. This is one he brought up, that bullish confirmation. I said, well, if you could predict the future, man, I'm all aboard. But it doesn't work that way. Again, we went through that. The bullish candlesticks down here, you can't predict that they're going to rise up. We want those bullish candlesticks. We want confirmation. Now we can start looking for our entries in here. This might be an entry for EQT setting up on this pullback. Coke is starting to turn up. This is what I explained I'm looking for. I'm looking for the red to turn green and then the entry in the green area. WM, we all know what that looks like on the chart. That's a rocket looking chart with price action. Well, if you take a look at it, the truth of it is it's really just setting up right now. And on the daily, we know that we know what that did. Look at that. That's a beautiful chart. So one of the questions on this was, did he miss this trade? Absolutely not. This is the beginning of this trade, not the end. It's not the middle. It's the beginning. We're just now seeing some confirmation in here, and this is what we want for the setup now. Dollar General. I know I'm running over time a little bit here. Dollar General. Look how that's setting up. And again, it was really, really comical. They would come back and look at, well, there's a double bottom. I could have been in there right away, or even on this gap. And I said, look, I don't disagree with the gap, but that's pretty early, and we don't have the confirmation with the white line over the green line. And I said, you just have to build those rules in there, okay? And we probably should cut this off right now. So let me go look at the SPY here. We're going to come back over here. There you go. So thanks, Joe. And, the gentleman it was a great conversation I had last night. It was one of the best. We just chatted online. Well, it was kind of a coaching thing, and we were on Skype live and, doing this. And it was just a great conversation. They were looking to get in on the super cheap, which there's nothing wrong with that, except you're kind of predicting what's going to happen rather than let it happen and then follow the prediction. And if a chart, if a chart was to put in a bullish candle, okay, something really good here. You know what? Maybe what we should do is look at WM. There we go. So if a chart was to put in a bullish candle, and their question on this, am I too late? Have I missed this? No, I don't believe you have. But on the other hand, what if you have? What if we have a great couple days going on here, right? Well, what if all of a sudden we start moving down? Well, you don't want to even be remotely near this chart. This would be a horrible chart to even be trading on if that was it and it just totally reversed. You don't want that. What you want are those charts that are actually trending. And then inside that trend, what we're looking for are those, those setups, those rallies, pullbacks, or maybe, you're a breakout trader. There you go. There's your breakout right there. So absolutely not. I don't think we're missed this. I don't think so at all. So anyway, sorry, I could go on about this all day long. I love this kind of conversation. Hey everyone, thank you very much. The Spy, thanks for being here this morning. Appreciate it. Nothing has changed. You guys all know that this is the black line here. This is the 500 period moving average. And that is just, for me, we have got to get above that to be bullish. Anything below that is just not good in my book. So let's be a little careful. We could see some more downside on the charts here. Even if we start to run up, we're going to run into some resistance, and that could push us to the downside. So stay with the trend, stay calm, stay patient, stay here. I'll see you guys back at the bottom of the hour, okay? Thank you so much. Thanks, Julie, Joe. Appreciate it. All right, we'll see you guys. Be back in a little bit.